Hello everyone and welcome back to Knit California. Today we are doing something a little bit different. I am starting a brand new project and I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride. I'm really excited about it. So let's get started. I have already picked out the pattern I'm going to be making and the yarn I'm going to be using. The pattern is the Mattie Cardigan by Kristin Drysdale. She is at Scandiwork on Instagram. And the yarn I'm going to be using is Les Petites Lambs Wool by Biches and Bouches. It's probably not how you say it at all. Biches et Bouches. And it's this beautiful 100% lamb's wool. It is 50, these are 50 gram skeins, 248 meters, 270 yards, and let's see, lamb's wool is just the first shear of any sheep. And this is a pure lamb's wool from Scotland, from a family-owned fiber mill. And so I love that. And it's this beautiful, I love this color so much. It's called Light Pink Violet. And I think you can just see all the different purples, pinks, reds in here. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is a colorwork sweater. So this is gonna be my main color. You can see I've got 6 skeins of this beautiful purple. And I'm using white as the contrast color. And as you can see in the picture, it's a colorwork cardigan with little flowers on it, and it's beautiful. And I encourage you to go look at the Ravelry description of this pattern. There's a beautiful story on there from Kristin Drysdale, the designer, about what this pattern means to her and why she chose the name, the Mattie Cardigan, and I love it so much. So, the reason why I figured this would be a great pattern to take you guys along with me as I'm making it is because this has a very interesting design element to it, and something that I've never done before. This is a steeked cardigan. So what that means is I will be knitting it in the round as if it's a pullover sweater, and then I will be cutting it up the middle to create the opening for the cardigan. There's a few different reasons as to why you would maybe want to steek a cardigan pattern. The biggest reason is probably because it's way easier to knit in the round, because you're only doing knit stitches. If you knit back and forth like a regular cardigan pattern, you're knitting one round and then you're purling the other round. And there are a lot of knitters out there who don't enjoy purling. A recent top that I made, the cottagecore crop, I knit in that way, so it was knit one round and purl the other round, and I will say it was a lot. It was a lot of purling, but we did get through it. And I do think my affinity for purling changed in that pattern. I actually grew to enjoy it. But I'm doing this pattern as part of a make-along called the Steeking Along that is being run by Rachel from @RachelIsKnitting and Courtney from @SillyGooseYarns. They are hosting this Steek Along, make-along for anyone who wants to join. And we're all gonna learn how to steek together. Rachel has steeked multiple cardigans. So she's like our resident expert, and she has included, there's a Discord channel where we can all chat about what we're making, anything that comes up as we're doing this make along, and Rachel has included multiple resources in that group to help us all as we're going through this fun pattern process. Everyone is choosing different patterns that they're going to be making. And so yeah, it's really fun. In today's video, I'm gonna show you the swatch that I'm going to be making. I'm sure this will be a like multiple series, multiple video series as I take you through this project and process. This is a full-length sweater cardigan, so it is gonna take me at least a month and a half, if not longer, to actually finish this. But I'm gonna start with the swatch. And what my plan is to knit like a small tube in the round so that I can test out my gauge, and then I'm going to practice cutting and steeking the swatch. So that'll actually be my very first attempt at steeking anything. So, yay! A couple more specs on the pattern. I downloaded it. It is a paid-for pattern, so I can't reveal everything about it. But as I was reading through, I did download it recently. There's a lot of different needle sizes that are used in this pattern, and typically I am a tight knitter, which means I typically have to go up a needle size, which actually works to my benefit in this case because this is fingering weight yarn, and the recommended needle size for this is 3mm or 3.5mm, and I typically have to go up a full needle size, which means, actually let me see if that's what's recommended in the pattern. Yeah, 3.5mm, 3.75mm, 2mm, that's for the ribbing. Yeah, so my plan is to swatch with a 4.5mm and see if that gets me close to the gauge. It's a 24 stitch gauge per 4 inches. So we'll see. Let's just start. Okay, I'm about to start my swatch, but I'm really nervous about it. The pattern doesn't really have any like instructions for swatching. It just says how many stitches your gauge is supposed to be, how many rows, and that you should do it in both color work and in one color to make sure like your gauge is the same for both. Because sometimes you need to reduce your needle size when you're using one color compared to color work because your color work stitches get tighter. So I'm definitely gonna do that, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to like do the swatch. So I'm gonna watch Very Pink Knits dog battle. Hey! I'm gonna watch Very Pink Knits YouTube tutorial and try to get some ideas from there. Okay, so it's actually taken me like 2 or 3 days to cast on this swatch, because I was really nervous about it. So the pattern just says, you know, here's your gauge, it's 24 stitches and however many rows, work it in your color work pattern. And since I've never like actually steeked before, I really wanted to practice that on my swatch. And so it took me a while to, first of all, figure out what I needed to cast on and how I needed to like actually knit the swatch. And then I figured that out last night. I finally made a decision. And then it took me a little bit longer to actually work up the courage to cast this on. And what I did is I like actually in the margin of my notes like wrote out how I want to swatch this. So I like made a pattern basically for myself. But anyways, here it is. Here's me starting my swatch. I'm knitting it in the round. And I'm doing magic loop, so I'm sure there's gonna be some weird stuff happening right here where, actually doesn't look too bad. I think when I block it, it'll be fine, but where the like magic loop transition is, I'm absolutely loving like the colors of this. This is really pretty. And then, so what I did was I started with the ribbing so I could actually measure like this needle size as well. And then I cast on extra stitches for the steek, similar to like what it tells you to do in the pattern. So it's really hard to show you. That's what this 1 by 1 white and purple section is. So this is actually where I'll cut it. And then I'm doing the color work pattern. I'm doing like 30 something rows of the color work pattern, and I have already done like 11. So I've got a bit more to go, but I figured I would show you the progress so far, and then knit some of it while you guys are here. So there we go. I do a majority of my knitting snuggled up here in bed, so as I'm planning on filming more videos about my projects, you will get used to seeing me in this spot. So that's what it is. Also, as I've been knitting this, I have discovered that I'm really bad at color work. I've really only done one color work pattern, sweater pattern before, so I'm just trying to figure out and reteach myself how to hold the yarn. I've watched some tutorials where people hold the yarn one strand in each hand, and then another one from Very Pink Knits where she shows how she holds both strands in her right hand for English style knitting. So I'm trying to figure out what is most comfortable for me. Some of the rows I have to like catch floats, and other rows I don't have to. So I'm also practicing that with my swatch. So it looks a little, I don't know, you can't really tell, but I'm hoping it'll block out and be totally fine. I feel like this yarn is just gonna like bloom and kind of puff up a little bit when it blocks, just because of the nature of it. So yeah, you'll see me just like fiddling around with this yarn probably most of the time. So if you have any color work suggestions, drop them in the comments below, or any like tutorials or videos that you have found super helpful. I would love to take a look and learn more about this. my little tube swatch is done. You can tell it's like super puckery. So hopefully some of that will block out. I don't know if all of it will. It's definitely just an issue of like the floats and the color work. I definitely had some issues like on the magic loop switch part with tension there, so I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. I guess the next part is to reinforce the steek part here and then to cut it. So let's do it. Okay, excuse the mess, but I'm starting the crochet reinforcement. So the way that this is explained is I found the center row that I'm going to be cutting, which is the middle purple row here. So I'm going to pick up with my crochet hook the left V from this row, the white one, and the right V from the purple one that we're going to cut. And I'm going to chain stitch those two halves of the V together. So I don't know, I'm probably not filming this very well. I don't have a good I don't have a good setup, but that's what I'm doing right now. You want to make sure to only get each half of the V because we're going to be, especially for the purple column, we're going to be cutting right down the middle of that. And I'm using a contrast color yarn so I can see what I'm doing, but I think for the real sweater I'll probably use either the purple or the white. I don't know yet. Okay, so I got the first side. Now I'm going to do the other side. And so I'll have two sides, and then right here in the middle where you see those like horizontal bars, that's what I'm gonna cut. This is all very scary and very exciting at the same time. I feel like I already ruined something. Ah, okay, it's okay. Just a swatch. We're doing it. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so number one, it worked. I don't know. I do feel like these are potentially like really close to coming out. But I also think with this yarn, this wool, I feel like it's sticky enough that I could felt the ends down. Let's see. They're just like, I don't know. I guess when you pick up the button band, it'll be picked up like in farther, so like here as opposed to on the very edge. So I know you can also like whip stitch it or like maybe not mattress stitch, but like sew it down. So I might need to do that on the full cardigan. You can see I did some ribbing, so that was kind of fun to test out that. And the whole thing just like is super puckery from the color work. So I don't know, I'll see how much I can flatten this out, but if you stretch it really far, it's like fine. But like that's not how the sweater is gonna be. I don't know, the floats don't look too terrible in the back, but maybe they are kind of tight for some of them. I don't know, I'm gonna block it right now and we'll see what happens. Okay, we are blocking, and while we are here I just wanted to show you I am using the Sorella yarn wool wash, and I just got this new scent today called Staycation. It is part of their summer tonals line of yarn, marketplace items, and it's like a super light scent. It's not very strong, and it just smells like clean, fresh, summer, beachy, and I love it. I also got the hand cream, and isn't this bottle just like super cute? So we will let this, what time is it, 7:20? We'll let this sit for another 10 minutes or so and then pull it out. Okay, so I've taken it out of the bath and laid it out on the blocking mats, you can see. I usually don't recommend like pinning a swatch, but it was still curling up. I did my best to not like stretch it out very much so that I could like read the true stitch count. I don't know why it like looks like it's going wider over here and then comes in. I have no idea. And it still looks a little bit lumpy, so we'll see what it looks like when it dries. I have a feeling it's gonna stay lumpy, but yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's the next day and my swatch has fully dried. Yay! A couple of things. So you can still kind of see it's kind of lumpy and bumpy, but it's way better than it was before blocking. So as I'm working on the cardigan, I'm really just gonna try to make my floats less like taut in the back. They're not terrible, but I do think they're probably a little tight, and I think that's what's causing the lumpy and bumpiness. So that's one. Two is I have measured my gauge, and I've mentioned before, but I'm a really tight knitter, so I typically have to go up, I have been going up like a full needle size. So this pattern calls for a 3.5 millimeter needle on the colorwork, and well, main body it tells you to go down one. So I went up to a 4.5 millimeter needle, and my gauge is still not right. It's calling for 24 stitches per 4 inches, and I'm over that. I've got like 25, maybe 26. It's really hard to count this fabric, this yarn. So I'm somewhere around there, but I did the math, and in the pattern it says the finished garment is supposed to have, it's a recommended 3 to 5 inches of positive ease. The size that I'm choosing, which is the size 6, the finished measurement is supposed to be 45.5 inches. So right there, that would be 5.5 inches of positive ease, so that's a little bit higher than like what's recommended. So I'm gonna stay with the size 6, and knowing that my gauge is off and I will get a slightly smaller garment because of that, I think I will still fall into the range of like 3 to 5 inches of positive ease, which I think will be totally fine. Also remember, it's going to be a cardigan, so it's not going to fit poorly, you know? You'll be able to like close it, open it, where it opened, where it closed, I don't know. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. One other thing, I think I mentioned last night, I was like, why does it, like, where can you see it? Right here especially, like, why does it bump out so much right here? And this is where I practiced my gauge with just a single color, and I didn't think I would have any differences between my colorwork gauge and my single color gauge, but boy, do I. You can really see my single color is like so much wider in the same number of stitches than my colorwork gauge. So this tells me that I probably will want to go down at least half a needle size when I get to the straight color. So I don't know, I mean, I don't know if it's worth it to try to go up to a 5mm for the colorwork and then go down to the 4.5 for the one color. I might have to try it. And then the ribbing is supposed to be a different needle size as well. I did this on a 3.25 because my ChiaoGoo set doesn't have a 3.5mm needle. Like, that's frustrating. So maybe I do this on a 4? Because you can see, I mean, so I added the ribbing. Let's see if I can explain this. The steek stitches here and over here, the straight lines, do not have ribbing on them. The ribbing is just for the like straight pattern, but you can see it's still kind of going in a little bit, which means, I think that means the needle size is slightly too small because it's not sitting straight. And although, so I didn't pin out the ribbing to try to make it straight when I blocked the swatch. I just pinned like the sides and the bottom to make sure this was straight and not curling. But if I'm gonna go up to a 5, then I might as well go up to a 4 for the ribbing. See, I don't know, I literally just said I'm gonna keep it the same and now I'm saying maybe I'll go up a needle size. Clearly I haven't decided yet, but yeah, that's that. Let's see, the overall process of making this, kind of like I mentioned before, the color work was probably the trickiest part for me. I think I mentioned I've only done one other colorwork sweater before, and it was on a much larger gauge, much larger yarn, much larger needles. This is fingering weight yarn, so yeah, I think I don't know. I think with practice it'll definitely get better, as with everything, you know? From like this angle, like if I'm wearing this right now though, this is gonna be super cute. I absolutely love this color. But so I think that's just gonna be practice. The crochet reinforcement here was a little tricky, a little fiddly, just because you're like, you have to make sure you get the right stitches. So that was probably the second most difficult part to the whole color work. And then actually doing the cut was like very easy. Like I don't know, cutting things is not hard. And because you have the crochet reinforcement, it was very easy to see like where I was cutting. It was right between there. So I think when that time comes on the real garment, it's not going to be too bad. I think the biggest thing is just going to make sure, like, so yeah, I have the crochet reinforcement, but am I going to want to like sew these parts down after I pick up for the button band? Probably. So there's like a second layer of reinforcement there for these stitches. Again too, I think I can try to like needle felt these a little bit. I think this particular yarn, which is the Biche Bouche Le Petit Lamb's Wool, it's 100% lamb's wool, is got that like sticky rustic quality. It's not like, it's not super rustic. I've worked with stuff that I think is like more rustic, but it's got that sticky quality that I think the yarn would stick to itself, and I think that would be like, that could be a good option. So yeah, those are there's the process of doing the swatch, and those are all my thoughts about this. I'm ready basically now, I guess. Well, I guess I need to figure out the needle size. I'll figure it out in the next video. I will tell you what I've decided, and in the next video I'm going to take you through the process of knitting this. It's going to be, I think it's going to take a while. It's going to take me probably at least 2 months to knit this because, like I said, it's a fingering weight sweater, full sweater. I do think I'm going to shorten it compared to how long it is in the pattern. Okay, see how long this goes? Like, I don't think I'm going to make it that long. I'm going to make it to about my hips so it doesn't go over my butt. And so that should cut down a little bit on the knit time. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the process that I did for steeking this, leave them below. If you have any tips, please, any colorwork tips, any steeking tips, especially for someone not using a sewing machine to reinforce that steek, please leave them down below as well. And yeah, come back and follow along. I will be posting more like real-time, probably updates on Instagram stories. So if you would like to see that and follow along, you can go follow me over there at Knit California. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Happy knitting! Kristin, hi bunny. Hi my love. Oh hi my love. You gonna be in the video? Wanna say hi? Say hi. I know you wanna lick off my chapstick. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down.